Biosphere means living being, which having the life. Lithosphere, atmosphere, hydrosphere. Hydrosphere is the water. Lithosphere is the soil, land, everything. Atmosphere is the air, oxygen above our earth. Biosphere is mutually depending. Biosphere is in the center of the environment. Biosphere is the center of the environment. This is depending on each other, but everything is depending on each other. But lithosphere, atmosphere, hydrosphere is the non-living thing. Biosphere is the living. For survival, for living, for their day-to-day needs, they require lithosphere, atmosphere, and hydrosphere. Simple thing. Suppose any living being has to stand, he has to live on the earth surface, lithosphere. It has to breathe, it takes oxygen. It has to drink, takes water. Hence, biosphere is the center of the environment. It is depending on each and every sphere of the environment. Each and every sphere of the environment. That is the scope of the environment, and then environmental studies. Biosphere, human beings come under the living being. So we are mutually depending on, we are completely depending on the nature, environment. Hence, there is a lot of scope to study the environment. The scope of environmental studies is a vast and wide due to complex and multidisciplinary nature of the environment. Complex and multidisciplinary nature. It's an important tool. Environmental study is an important tool to educate the people for protecting and conservation of environment, which encompasses a large number of areas and aspects can be discussed as follows. Because this is complex and multidisciplinary. Suppose there is a lot of problem, environment is degrading, pollution is going on. So environmental studies give an awareness and sensitivity, sensitize of environment towards environment and its related problems. In the peer groups, in the human being, awareness and sensitization towards environment and its conservation, how we has to overcome environmental related problems. That is the first aspect, first scope of the environmental studies. To motivate the active participation in environmental protection and improvement. Everybody is thinking somebody is doing, somebody will do. Oh, okay, what is there? What I'm doing like this. Okay, remaining people may contribute towards environment. That is not. Each and every individual has to participate. Every individual has to motivate themselves as well as to others too towards environmental protection and the environmental improvement. Active participation, either plantation, then conservation of environment with different activities, zero carbon, not zero, net zero carbon, waste treatment, composting, green environment, green technologies. Everywhere has to motivate and then actively participate in the environmental protection. to develop skills for identifying and solving environmental problems. If we know the skills, if there is a pollution is going on, if there is a water is polluting, if there is environment is polluting, if there is somewhere industrial area, if any skill we know for overcoming that pollution, that problem, that is good. We can conserve the environment. Hence, developing of skills towards conservation of, towards solving of environmental related problems. To know the necessity of conservation and management of natural resources. Actually, natural resources are uh, abundance in the nature, but we have to conserve it. We have to take stewardship towards conservation of natural resources. Otherwise, natural resources continuously, if we are utilizing without stewardship, without management, without conservation, after some times they will exhaust. At that time, we may not utilize them. There is a problem. There is a serious issue. Hence, every individual has to know how to conserve, how much resources we have to conserve, how we can save our natural resources. Actually, saving is better than manufacturing. Conservation is better than after degrading the environment for protecting. Hence, every individual has to know how to conserve environment, how to save, how effectively we have to save our natural resources, how effectively we have to manage our natural resources. To understand the importance of ecology and biodiversity. If there is no biodiversity, no long human being may exist, because all the living beings plays vital role towards for human being survival, human being welfare. Hence, we have to improve the biodiversity. We have to conserve the biodiversity. To mitigate environmental pollution, initiates its control. How we can mitigate it? How we can, anywhere natural resources are damaging, natural resources are degrading, natural resources are misusing, we have to conserve them, we have to mitigate them. How we can effectively utilize, how we can mitigate that environmental pollution, what are the adaptability skills, how these can be controlled, everything everybody has to know. To illustrate social issues, human population and environment. Actually, human population is increasing. Nature is as well as, there is no increasing. At this, whatever at the initial state, now also same. Their composition is same, but renewable resources are going to decreasing because of our population, overutilization, misuse, overutilization, everything due to our population growth. To evaluate environmental programs in terms of social, economic, ecological factors. Social, economic, ecological. Balancing of all the things. Monitoring of all the things. Assessment of all the things. If social conditions are good, means something we can conserve the environment. If there is social conditions are bad, each and every individual is depending on the nature, natural resources. Usually, very fastly natural resources are degrading, and then after some time deploying. That is the problem. Then ecological factors, economic factors too. Both are mutual interdependent. social, economic, and ecological. Hence, we has to evaluate, assess, monitor through environmental programs. This study includes the density of population, population explosion, measures to control population growth, because if population is growing on, everybody is depends on the natural resources. Natural resources are deploying, degrading, destroying. I mean, up to sometimes we may not get any resource. Where we has to, how we can survive, how human beings can survive, living beings can survive. Now itself, many of the other living beings are going to extinction due to deforestation, other activities. It is the problem. This is the scope of the environmental studies. All the basic aspects of environmental studies which have a direct relevance to very section of the society. Now scope has expanded, obviously, globally, everywhere. So we has, without forgetting our profession, we are thinking we are a scientist, we are a professor, we are lawyer, we are engineer, we are so on, whatever it may be. Before that, whatever your position, whatever your profession, before that you are a human being. Keep in mind, think towards conservation of environment, otherwise you may not survive. Hence, each and every individual has to play a vital role, has to conserve the environment. At that time only, our future generations